Hello and welcome to Wellness at Work series episode 2 and I have with me Vikram Kamath. Vikram is a business consultant with over 4 years consulting experience, backed by over 17 years of leadership experience in Indian and global markets. He works with clients across growth strategy, business development, as well as strategic market research in varied sectors such as engineering, strategy consulting, fintech, and F&B. Vikram is an alumnus of NIT Calicut as well as Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. He's passionate about nature as well as living a more meaningful life. Welcome, Vikram.
Thank you, Neeta. Thank you for that wonderful intro. Joining me on the podcast today is my co-host Neeta Iyer. Neeta is a media professional with over 18 years of diverse experience in radio programming, content curation, podcasting, and journalism. She has worked and led content teams across BBC, Radio Mirchi, Radio 1, Fever FM, Radio Nasha, and that's not all. She's a published author with Jayco as well. She works as a creative consultant across several organizations. What I like most about Neeta is that she's passionate about wellness, and that's how we met. And she has a podcast, TBH, to be honest, with RJ Neeta, and this podcast centers around women and wellness. So it's great to be in conversation with you, Neeta, and let's discuss today's topic.
Absolutely. Same here, Vikram. And last time we spoke of the importance of having wellness conversations at our workplaces. And today we would want to talk about the benefits of managing stress and how can leaders manage their stress better and thereby create healthy workplaces.
Yes. I remember reading a Gallup survey back in 2021. This was mid-pandemic, but I still feel it's very relevant. Almost 33 to 35% of managers reported that they feel burnt out very often or always.
Correct.
This statistic is much more amplified when it comes to people managers or leaders who are leading teams. So I think high levels of burnout is a very common occurrence amongst leaders. And I feel one of the reasons is that a leader or a manager is sandwiched in between the staff, the people who are executing, as well as the leadership, the executive team on the other side. So you're sort of managing expectations of both sides, and the fire is burning at both ends. So I think this is what leads to high levels of stress in managers, and it'll be great to unpackage this further with you.
Absolutely, Vikram. I agree with what you just shared. And in fact, other factors that kind of add to stress at work include poor company culture, heavy workloads, high pressure environments, not enough vacation or break time, low salaries, low pay, insecurity of losing a job, and of course, workplace gossip, workplace bullying. So these are all factors which kind of add to stress at work for a manager. And because you are in a leadership position, you have the opportunity to model positive stress management techniques for your team. And when your team members see that, our leader is managing his or her stress levels so well, and he or she is always so calm under the most stressful situations, it kind of inspires them to also handle things with a more mature, calm demeanor. And that kind of overall contributes to a happier, healthier workplace culture, which benefits both us and our team members. So to begin with, since it's so important for managers to learn how to handle stress, what are the benefits of doing so? So if I'm a manager who handles stress well, what are the benefits really? Would you want to start with one benefit that's really close to you?
I think benefits of managing stress are, it's to count these would be unfair, but I think one which is really up there, which tops it for me, is teams which are stress-free. When you're in a stress-free environment, I feel the motivation amongst the team is much higher to go out there and deliver. Having that stress-free environment not only improves the motivation, but it also boosts productivity at work. So you see that teams which are much better engaged. In fact, we spoke of this in our last podcast as well. A team member who's highly engaged is a much more productive team member. So I think this is one of the biggest benefits of having a stress-free environment.
Also, I feel that since the leader is a little more relaxed and he's stress free, the team also kind of emulates the same behavior. So the team is also more relaxed. That will kind of improve the relationship amongst the team members. Plus, the team members will be able to really look up to the leader, respect the leader better. And not only at work, I think because one is feeling relaxed at their place of work, they will also carry the same temperament back home. So they will also end up having a better relationship at a personal level. So overall, I feel relationships improve when the person who is heading a team is relaxed and stress free.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think the change starts at the top, and being able to manage stress, you see all these benefits like a better motivated team, a more productive team, a team which has better interpersonal skills, and I think all of this leads to employees who are staying longer with the organization. So you see that you're
Correct.
able to retain the teams, and retaining teams is invaluable because you're able to retain the expertise, you're able to retain you're able to provide growth opportunities to individuals within the team who grow within the team. So I think these are all some of the obvious benefits of having a stress-free environment and managing stress at work. But there's one benefit which is very less spoken of, which is at the core, which is where I feel that as leaders, many times because of the stress we are in, because of the stress that is being put upon us, we are not in effect doing a leadership role. We are doing something which is very transactional, which is very operational in nature. We are often caught up in enabling things for our team. We're often caught up in making sure that the day-to-day activities are done. And this, in some sense, builds on that stress level because you are really not able to do the true essence of what you are as a manager or as a leader being tasked to do. As a manager or leader, you're supposed to anticipate, you're supposed to be more proactive than reactive, right? So you're supposed to proactively think about the future. How can your team grow? How can your team do better? How can the business grow? So these are all challenges which are very personal to a manager. And because you're operating in a highly stressed environment, you're really not going beyond those transactional things into doing things which are actually your own requirements, which are actually your core KPIs. So I think being in a stress-free environment, the biggest positive I see is that as a leader, as a manager, you can start delivering on aspects which are very core to what a leader should be doing.
So I think now, Vikram, moving on, let's talk about different ways in which the manager can handle stress at work. So now that we know of so many benefits that come with a stress-free mind and a stress-free temperament, so I think the first way in which I would handle stress, and I think it's always works, is to take a break. So whenever you feel that you are caught up in a difficult situation, in a very stressful situation, you just don't know what to do, what is the decision that you should be taking, it's a good idea to just take a break. And taking a break is the best stress management technique. Just going for a walk in the garden, or maybe a deep breathing exercise, or maybe just meditating for 5 minutes, or taking a quick walk, or just sipping a hot cup of chai. So anything that kind of calms you down and helps you distance yourself from the situation at hand, so that you are really able to have an overall perspective of the situation without really getting caught up in the midst of the problem, and then coming back to the situation, coming back to solve the problem, coming back to taking a decision with a calmer mind, with a more relaxed mind. So taking a break always works.
One of my personal strategies has been to identify the triggers for stress. So, like I mentioned in the earlier topic, the fact that as a leader you are not able to do core KPIs, which are more forward-looking than transactional. This was a very big stressor for me. So, being able to plan time exclusively, block time to do work which is my own work. So this is just an example which I'm giving you. But stressors can be different for different people. It could be that weekly report which needs to be submitted, the review meeting which happens once a quarter, the month end pressure of sales closing. So it's important for us to take that small break, like Neeta just said, reflect on what could be the various triggers for us, And many times it's not always that the triggers are from our professional life. You could have personal triggers as well. Being asked to do something in the personal space for your family could be a stress trigger for many people. The fact that you're not able to give enough time to your family is a trigger for many people. So I think it's very important to take these triggers head on and start incorporating these triggers into your personal planning. So you then start blocking time for things which you need to do. It's like, as one person said, you block time in your calendar for me time, where I'm able to sit and think and do things. So it's very much possible to start planning around these triggers and start. I mean, we do mitigation strategies for risk, which we see in our business. This is one such thing where you see certain triggers which spike your stress levels. You start planning around how do you mitigate these triggers. So I think this is something which we should all actively be practicing.
Right, Vikram. And another thing that we could do to handle stress, to manage stress better, is upskilling. So, if I learn and practice better and more effective management skills and techniques, it will obviously improve my work relationships, it will increase my team's productivity. So, efficient management will obviously mean less stress for me and my team. So, upskilling and that willingness to learn is always a good idea. It will always help you manage stress better. Mm, Also, there are many companies that provide education opportunities. They conduct workshops. They might be willing to pay for a management course. So it's a good idea to take advantage of such opportunities if they're available. Alternatively, you can also learn management skills from books, from podcasts, online courses. In fact, it's also a very good idea, Vikram, to maybe work with a leadership coach, because a lot of times we're not able to see the gaps in our own managerial styles, things which we are not probably doing in the most appropriate way, blind spots which probably we are not able to kind of identify. So, a leadership coach then will really help us identify these areas which we can obviously work on and improve our managerial style, improve the management techniques. So, that would also kind of go a very long way in helping us manage our stress better, is what I feel.
I mean, fear of the unknown is in fact a stress trigger for many. So I think upskilling and leadership coaching helps plug up some of these triggers which are there. One of the other stress management techniques which I've seen is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is something which we do an extremely good job of setting boundaries when it comes to professional versus a personal life. So we tell people in our family, we tell our loved ones, don't disturb me. I'm not available for this family function. I cannot attend my friend's birthday because I've got work. So you're doing an extremely good job of setting boundaries on your personal life, but I think it should be inverted in some sense. And setting boundaries is not something which is to say that you cut off the way you've been or you drastically change things overnight. These are small changes in terms of when you're available for calls or emails, how much time you would need before responding to something which has come in, or how long something would be on your desk, when you're available for meetings in a day. So I think these are small changes, and the beauty of it is that once you start setting these boundaries, you would very quickly see people in your team adapting to this. It in fact gives people a signal that it's okay to set boundaries.
Absolutely.
You in fact seen that traditional space where the boss is in office till 7, 8 at night, so everybody else in the team sits in office. So I think it's very okay to give the signal that it's important to be productive during your productive hours, and there are hours when you're not available. And then people start planning for that unavailability, and then they start planning around it. So this is something which
Right.
is very important, and setting these boundaries then gives you that break, gives you that decompression time, and it gives you the space to, as Neeta said, you want to read books, you want to upskill, you want to build yourself as a person, you want to go for a jog, do all of this. All of this requires boundaries, so you cannot do one without doing the other. So I feel setting boundaries is a very important step in trying to practice many of the things which we are discussing today.
Absolutely. And also, Vikram, leading a healthier lifestyle, because it's not what we do at work that only adds to stress. It's also what we're doing besides work, outside work, away from work, at a personal level. So, for example, Am I having adequate nutrition? Am I sleeping properly? Am I exercising regularly? Am I spending time with loved ones? Because these are the activities that truly nurture you, nourish you, and prepare you for the battle at your workplace. So if you are not taking care of your emotional, mental, physical health, then obviously you are not feeling great. And then when a situation comes up at your place of work, it kind of triggers you, and it's like the volcano erupts because you don't have the arms and ammunition to kind of deal with that situation since you're so stressed already. So I think leading a healthier lifestyle makes you more resilient to stress. You're able to handle stress much better because you've slept well, you've eaten properly, you've exercised, you're feeling happy, you managed to spend time with your loved ones. So I think all of this kind of adds to productivity at work.
End of the day, it is uh, one is accepting that one is human. I mean, as a leader or as a manager, we're not supermen or we're not superwomen. So I think our bodies are human. All of what we're doing takes a toll on our bodies. So unless our bodies get a chance to refresh and re-energize themselves, it just keeps adding to the stress. And related to this is one aspect which again has helped me at certain times is asking for help. So many times as leaders, as managers, we put ourselves up on a pedestal and we feel it's wrong to ask for help. That you're often told that don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. So asking for help is something which is taboo for a lot of us. But I think one needs to be practical enough to understand that what are goals which can be met through proper planning and what are goals which are stretch or which are impractical goals. And it's not wrong on certain occasions to ask for help on the professional front. You can ask for help up the chain of command, you could ask for help down, you could ask for help horizontally. So there are different ways of asking for help. You could ask for help on the personal front. You could request support from people within your family to help you manage a stressful work situation. So there are different ways of asking for help, and one could ask for help at different avenues are there for asking for help. So I think this is also one thing which very few of us exercise, and you would be really surprised if one asks for help. You would see people rally around you, and the important disclaimer here is one has to ask for help for the right reasons, and one has to be judicious about one asks when one is asking for help. But this is something which is an extremely powerful tool, so I would reserve it for the really difficult times. But asking for help is something which is up there in my list of personal stress management therapies.
Absolutely, Vikram. And in fact, as a manager, if you're not able to handle and process your emotions at all, then it's not a bad idea to even ask for help in terms of therapy, going for therapy. In many cases, therapy can help you really cope with stress, and that can benefit your work situation, your personal life, and all aspects of your life. So thank you so much, Vikram. This was such a wonderful conversation, and we all agree that being a manager can be so stressful, but these long term coping techniques can really help us cope with stress so much better. And certainly a peaceful manager creates a peaceful workplace.
Yeah, and that's an invaluable asset. Having a peaceful workplace, I'm sure all of us in the corporate world would agree that a peaceful workplace is a productive workplace, and that's what we're all here to do. So thanks, Neeta, for this opportunity to have this chat. And I think every time we speak, the passion about wellness shows in what we talk, and it really brings out these small actionable insights which you and I have practiced in our personal lives. And we really hope that all of you all who are viewing or seeing this podcast start practicing this at small levels. We'd love to hear from you. Please give us your feedback in the comments section, and we'd love to hear from you and improve, and maybe pick a topic next time which is of interest to you. So do help us by giving us feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to connecting with you again, Vikram, for the third episode.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye bye.